Me again. So here's another situation. What if I don't have moles to start with, but I get grams to start with, like this problem? Actually, I already recorded a video and then my power is low, so I didn't know if I had to redo it. So that's why I already have stuff up there. So I left it. But anyway, I'll explain this. So I start with grams this time in both reactants. I'm going to set this up exactly the same way. This problem just asks how many grams of hydrogen can be produced. Okay, so hydrogen's over here on the product side. How many grams of that can be produced? Well, I have to figure out first which of these is the limiting factor before I can figure out how many grams of hydrogen can be produced. So I'm going to do exactly like I did the last time when it was moles, but I have to do what you learned before with the grams to find grams. So I'm doing a gram or a mass to mass type problem. So I start out by putting H by what I have, and then write N by what I need. That's what I'm going to find. Okay, then I started right here with the 5 grams of magnesium, just because it's on the left, I start with that one. So I went to the periodic table to get rid of my mass per 1 mole. Then I was in moles, so I could do a mole to mole bridge here to get to this hydrochloric acid, because I want to figure out how many grams I need of that. Okay, so the grams canceled here. It's a 2/1 mole ratio. And then I had to go to the back of the book to find HCl, and I did that right here. 1 hydrogen at 1 gram, chlorine is 35 grams, and then I added them together to get 36. So that's where I get the 36 right there. Multiply across, divide by 24.3. You could probably just go 24 too, it doesn't really matter. And then I get 14.8 grams of hydrochloric acid for my answer. What do I do with that? Okay, remember what you find there is how much you need of that reactant. So I'm going to take this, and because it's HCl, I'm going to put it right here. So 14.8 grams. Remember, then you subtract it. Is that going to be a positive or a negative number? Well, hopefully you can see that it's going to be a negative number. So right away, I know what my limiting reactant is. It's not always the 2 situations that I just gave to you. We always found out that this one, or we found that this one was the limiting, but that's not always the case. So just beware of that. So this problem that I'm doing right now just asks about the grams, the mass of your product. It doesn't ask about how much excess you have. So I don't even have to do the other part of that like we did in the last problem. But now I know that that's my limiting factor. So I can start with what I have of my limiting factor to figure out how much product can be made. Hopefully you follow that. So just to reiterate, it doesn't ask me in this problem how much excess I have. So I don't have to figure that out. It just says how much product can be made. So I had to find my limiting factor first. I got lucky, I found it right away that my limiting factor was hydrochloric acid. So I take what I have of hydrochloric acid to figure out how many grams of hydrogen I have over there. Okay, so I'm going to start with the 6 grams of my limiting of HCl. And remember, I can't do a mole to mole yet because I'm not in moles. So I have to figure out the mass. Well, sweet, I already did that right there. There's 36 grams of HCl per mole of HCl. Now I'm in moles, so I can go from here to here. 1 mole of hydrogen per 2 moles of HCl. Because this is asking for grams, I have to figure out the mass. In 1 mole of H2, remember H is 1 and I have 2 of them, so it'd be 2 grams of H2. And I'm going to multiply across. comes out to 0.17 grams. Actually, significantly, that's not right. Let's do that again. It comes out to 0.167 grams of hydrogen gas. Right? So I had to find the limiting factor before I could go to my product. Now the next thing asks, number 2, it says, what's the volume of hydrogen? Remember that secret number that goes with volume? It's not really a secret, 22.4 liters per mole. Well, if this is how many grams I have of it, so this would be like number 2 right there. I could start with 1.67 grams of hydrogen. I want to figure out, I'm trying to find the volume. So I know that my mass is 2 grams of hydrogen per mole. Why am I going to mole? Because 1 mole equals 22.4 liters. That should be on your note card. Bam. That's it. That would show me how much liters I have of that product. So 0.167 times 22.4 divided by 2. That's it. I hope that those help. Make sure that you guys are working on that first page of that limiting reactant stuff. And then we can talk about it on Thursday. Sound good? See you guys. Miss yas. Bye.